Hello, hello, and welcome to the dark and seedy underworld of duct tape and daddy issues. We've had quite the couple of weeks, haven't we? It would seem that Mark Yokelbear is quite the popular pundit, but we've got another popular pundit back with us. It is Lexi. Say hello, Lexi.
Hello, Lexi.
There we go. I'm going to put it so we're both on the screen so I can see you and see that I've not gone off anywhere. Yeah, we've had a lovely couple of weeks where we've laughed a lot, and this week is going to be no different. As always, if you want to read along, Duct Tape and Daddy Issues by Dickens is available on Amazon. And it is quite funny. We're nearly halfway through now. How quickly has that gone?
It's gone real quick, but it's still unbelievable that there is yet more to come.
I spoke.
That's what she said.
That's what she said. I spoke to Fiona earlier, and we're like, seriously, we're going to do a bonus episode for the halfway mark, just to catch up with everything that's happened and a recap and to answer all of the burning questions she has. She emailed me this morning after seeing the episode with Mark last week. She emailed me with notes on Thursday's podcast.
She is nothing if not thorough.
Right. She said that her answer to why don't women ever call up phone sex lines. She says, statistically, women have less disposable income, so don't have the extra money to use in this way, which is, of course, the fault of the patriarchy. Agreed. Also, it's much easier for women to get a shag because from men's point of view, any hole's a goal. Also true, which is, again, the fault of the patriarchy, she says. But we probably won't moan about that one so much. To the question, are men really so egotistical that they think they can make a woman come just by explaining what they're doing to themselves on the phone? Her answer is yes.
Short and sweet and to the point, I think.
Absolutely. She also says there is nothing sexier than seeing your man writhing in pleasure because you got a couple of fingers in his arse. I agree. And then she says, well, should that be bumhole? She sneezes like a fairy. This should be no surprise. And then in capital letters, right across the screen, it says, dick fart. Yeah. What you don't know is that Fiona has found a practical application for the dick fart. For those who don't remember or haven't listened, the dick fart is when you've had sex that many times or that many wanks in the day that you are producing nothing but air. You go to come and it just goes literally. So she says that maybe men can use that to clean off their keyboards from all the filth that are probably on them because they've been wanking while watching porn.
Oh, that's not a nice thought. Oh, God, yes, get one of those black lights and just hold it over the keyboard.
No, do not. There is a thing, right? I'm sure you're not aware of this, but in the sex work industry, there is a thing where men will send their mistresses, and I'm using mistress with a capital M.
Okay.
So not just women that they're having sex outside the marriage with.
Understood.
Yeah. They will send their mistresses a video of themselves ejaculating to their picture, not their picture, the mistress's picture.
Right.
And it's known as a tribute. Now,
why have I got in my brain?
This is not the greatest come in the world. No, this is just a tribute.
Why have I got in my mind the bloke coming and hearing him go, a tribute for Her Majesty?
See, I mean, apart from anything else, I take my tributes in cash, right? If you want to like honour me, do it in pounds sterling, right? But yeah, it's called a tribute. So then Fiona was singing, "This is not the greatest come in the world. This is but a tribute." So, but I like the idea of Your Majesty as like, with fanfares, with them big flags that hang down off the
trumpets.
Yes. Maybe we could get like dick flags to hang off them.
You see, this is becoming a viable idea now.
It really is. It kind of reminds me, in the cartoons where they shoot a gun and it comes down and goes bang.
Bang.
Like that. But yeah. Okay, so when are we going on Dragon's Den with this?
Oh, yes. I think we'll develop it. We'll have to develop it. And obviously, we will need a sub to come along and give
give the presentation.
The presentation of the tribute.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my day. Yeah, so that
working thing.
So that was the email I woke up to today.
Can I just go back to the bit about why women don't phone sex lines?
Yes.
I mean, this could just be me. Okay. So if anyone out there wants to phone a sex line, be my guest. I just think it would never even, I wouldn't need a sex line. Because I have a very fertile imagination.
Yeah.
And it's mainly in my head. I don't need to talk to anybody.
So we're saying that men are unimaginative.
I think I probably am. I mean, not to talk out of school, but quite frankly, as we discussed in our last conversation on this podcast, I don't even have to take that long. I just think about Tom Ellis with no clothes on, and I'm practically there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it takes me a little bit longer if I'm thinking about men, but if I'm thinking about...
Obviously, I'm thinking about what he's doing as well.
Yeah.
But I've never sat there and thought, God, oversharing again, God almighty. When will I have never sat there and thought, you know what, I've got an itch that needs scratching. Let's put it like that. Right? Yeah. I've got an itch that needs scratching. That's it. I've come up empty. I haven't got anything to think about. How the hell am I going to get myself off? Never thought that.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll ring sex line. No, never thought about that.
Well, most of them, as you know, most of them ring with something in mind, you see. So it isn't that they can't think of anything. It is more that they want that connection. They want that human voice. On that note,
they want the validation. Go ahead.
On that note, shall we go ahead with the kink chapter?
Oh, please, let's.
Now, had I planned this book out better, I'd have started it on page 69.
Oh dear, slipping there, dear.
I was 2 pages off. This chapter starts on page 67, and it's called Lazing on a Sunny Afternoon because of the kinks reference. You get it?
Oh, clever.
I know, right? Up here for dancing. For those who can't see me, I'm tapping my head. The big head. God, the amount of stuff I have to qualify on this podcast.
Exhausting.
So, as per the bear for the past 2 episodes, if there's any point you want to stop me there, just we'll have to do that. I'll just stop you there because I tell you what, that was so funny last 2 weeks because he has something of the David Sedaris about him, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah.
Which I praise indeed.
I mean, I'm telling tales out of school, but he messaged me the other day to say one of his neighbours had offered for him to come round, drink loads of wine and do a couple of cheeky lines. And he turned it down for an episode of Married at First Sight and a cup of tea.
Oh, he's obsessed with Married at First Sight at the moment.
I haven't been able to watch it this season because I got obsessed last time. I still follow half of them on Instagram, and I've got my PhD to do.
I completely understand because Mark and I are fairly kindred spirits, and actually I'd probably have turned it down as well and gone, no, I've got a binge watch to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
No, like, because that will take up my whole day tomorrow too, and I wanted to clean the kitchen.
Exactly.
That's the thing, isn't it? We're too busy to do this now. When we were in our youth, or no, certainly when I was in my youth, substances weren't always legal, and that was fine because I'd spend all day in bed on the Sunday.
Yeah, because you could spend all day in bed.
Yeah, I used to go out on the Friday night.
Spend all day in bed these days.
Exactly. Like, spend all day, and now they don't know what they don't know. They're born. They can Uber in a blooming takeaway. They don't even have to get up and go to the 24-hour.
Go around the corner to the chippy.
Right.
They
don't even have to get out of bed just to answer the door.
Only needs 2 more of us, and we'll be doing the 4 Yorkshiremen.
In my day, drugs were expensive. They bloody were too. 30 quid. Right, I'm not saying anything else because, like,
no, don't say anything else because you're incriminating yourself.
I am. Okay, so, dear patient listeners, thank you for your patience. Here is the part of the book you've been waiting for. The part where I tell you about the weird stuff. Guys, gals, non-binary pals, it's time for the kink section. I figured that as I'm making up names of the men involved, oh God, I worded that badly. I figured that as I'm making up names, there should have been a comma there, terrible editing, that the men involved can endure a bit of finger pointing and laughing. So, comma there, obviously. Fasten your seatbelts, put your chairs and trays in an upright position and keep your arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times. It's going to be a bumpy ride. I have learned much about kink since I've been doing this job. I used to think that I was quite kinky. I mean, I do still now because I've been exploring stuff. But yeah, I used to think, right. One thing that bugs me before we go any further, Kelly Rowlands, right, who used to be in Destiny's Child. She was the one who did the song with Nelly, No Matter What I Do, where in the video she tried to text him using Excel and then got mad when he didn't text back. Right.
I'm going to pretend, dear listener, that I understood every word of that.
Well, she's got a song called Down for Whatever, and she's talking about how she's badass in bed and I'll make love on the floor. I'll behave yourself. That's not down for whatever.
I wouldn't have said that that was particularly extraordinary.
No. So anywho, I've always known I was kinkier than Kelly Rowlands, but I have some fantasies, for instance, that people I have told find very strange. I had a guy this true story. I had a guy dump me on the spot when I told him my ultimate fantasy was to give confession and then get fucked by the priest as a way of penance.
Now, can I stop you there? See, I'm learning, right? Okay, just a little footnote. Nobody now would think that was unusual because of the lovely Mr. Andrew What's-his-face, Scott.
Well, Phoebe Waller-Bridge we have a lot to be thankful for St. Waller-Bridge.
Phoebe has introduced a whole generation of women to the fantasy of the hot priest.
Well, I don't think it's introduced them. I think it's just outed us. I think we've always had it.
Oh,
now it's acceptable.
Of course we've always had it. Richard Chamberlain in the Thornbirds.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Don't. What was that? What was his Dr. something?
Dr. Kildare.
Dr. Kildare. When I was in childbirth with my first child, for some reason my ADHD brain couldn't remember what the theme tune to Dr. Kildare was, and it became the most important thing. And they're telling me, breathe, push, and I'm going, but how does it go? And one of the midwives started singing it, which is the true story about how my oldest son was born to the song of Dr. Kildare. Anywho.
When I was 14, I thought Richard Chamberlain was the hottest thing ever.
Oh, you watched the Thornbirds, didn't you? You saw the bit on the beach where she ran towards him and he said, I'm taking the money and staying in the church.
God.
Oh,
Hot priest. Anyway, sorry, that was just a
hot priest. I mean, I have since fulfilled this fantasy, and it was awesome, by the way. Yet sexy nun outfits, 2 a penny. I know, I have 2. If I want him to play doctor, then that is a bit weird. But nurses' outfits have kept the porn industry running for millennia. I know, I have 3 of them. I also have cheerleader and schoolgirl outfits. It would seem that men just have to turn up to be thought of as sexy, while women have to make a bloody production out of it. Again, the patriarchy. I think I should address the whole cheerleader schoolgirl thing. I have touched on it before, but as long as the person I'm with understands I'm never going to pretend to be under 18, it's all good. As well as having both those outfits, I also have a storm stroke Catwoman one and can generally improvise on what's wanted. It's a fantasy, nothing more, but I won't be part of anything that involves family, children, rape, or animals. I'm still an autonomous person, and I reserve the right not to get you off even if I'm being paid. Paying me does not mean you own me. It means you are renting my time. And even then, I'm allowed to decide to evict you from my presence if I like.
Can I just say that my favourite was always the French maid.
Really?
Oh, I love a French maid.
Yeah, but you like things like Downton Abbey and Upstairs, Downstairs and shit, didn't you?
Yes, you see, and a young master comes in and you're dusting along the mantelpiece with your feather duster, which can come in handy later on. And you're dusting along, you know.
Yeah, see, it's never, yeah, see, for me, the young master comes in the house and I go, hey, traipse that mud through here, I've just cleaned the floor. And the young master says, oh, like, no, it's just too fucking classist for me. It just doesn't work for me. I can't do it.
Yeah, but it's the whole master-servant thing. I mean, that is exactly the same, really.
Honestly?
It's exactly the same as Dom and Sub, really.
No.
Because
I have an issue with it. I think I've been, I'm having a revelation about myself.
Oh.
Dick flag.
Dick flag. Come on.
I think it's possibly because I've got this whole slavery thing going on, because
you could be right there.
Yeah, because obviously I say obviously for those who are listening might not know, I am a woman of colour. I have a deep issue with this whole servant and master house, someone in the house of the master thing, because it's just a bit too close to Gone with the Wind for me. By Rhett Butler. Totally would.
Oh, Clark Gable.
You should be a man who knows how to kiss you and does so often. Damn right. This is advice I've taken for my whole life. You should be kissed by a man who knows how.
Oh God, wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, got one of those now though.
Yeah, go on, rub it in.
So with Dick flag. So with that in mind,
go on.
Some of the more left field requests I have had. One of the first kinks I had was a guy. Let's call him Susie, because, well, I did call him Susie. He wanted me to dress him up and take him to a salon. This guy just wanted a friend to play dress up with, and that's what got him off. I really got into it. I was so up for this whole girls' night thing. And he came while I was sat across him, plucking his eyebrows. By that point, he had been dressed in some classy underwear and had his hair done tastefully. There is an awful tendency for men who cross-dress. I'm not talking about trans women who are women. I'm talking about men who cross-dress. There is this awful tendency for them to do so in underwear that most of us wouldn't go near, for the sheer reason that any accidental rubbing of it would cause that much dry friction that it would be a fire hazard. I know that companies that supply this crap are discreet, but damn it, these men pay a lot of money and they deserve decent underwear. Note to self, business idea, get nicer underwear for men. It was quite innocent, apart from the ejaculating while I did his eyebrows bit. And I taught him that sex could be defined as many things. He was truly grateful for the advice and the wank, and I wish him well.
Can I just come in here?
Yes.
Number one, nicer underwear for men. I'm going to give you male corsets.
If you have, I'm going to link a video in the show notes of men in corsets.
Oh, sir.
You, sir.
Now, these are beautiful things.
But they're not cheap and they're not tacky.
No, they are not. They are beautifully crafted things that make the men in them look hot.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
ladies, guys, gals, non-binary pals, Lexi seems to have come across all like perturbed and unnecessary.
Right now, okay, so I'm going to let you in on this one. Right now, I understand that years have gone by and certain aspects of this is problematical. However, I first saw the Rocky Horror Show when I was 14. Now, I have no idea why I videotaped this film that was on late at night without my mother's knowledge. Okay?
Okay.
Because I was obviously living at home at the time and she would have had an aneurysm after the first half an hour.
I've met Lexi's mum. This is true.
This is true. But my God, Tim Curry was so fucking sexy in that film.
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching it, feeling quite hot and bothered, thinking, you know, there he is in full, you know, basque, suspenders, satin pants.
Them tiny little pants.
Those tiny pants and those 4-inch heels. And as a 14-year-old, I did go through quite a disturbing stage of wondering where the fuck my head was at. Everybody else is saying, oh, isn't Nick Hayward gorgeous? And I'm thinking about a bloke dressed head to tail.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that's where the French maid comes from, magenta.
Yeah, possibly.
I always used to go as magenta when I went to Rocky.
Oh, I see.
So good on you, Susie. That's what I say.
When I went as Frankenfurter.
Oh, good.
Talking about bending gender norms. So Susie rang me back not long ago. He's having a lovely time buying underwear and he's got some amazing stuff. And it makes me happy that he's also been learning how to do makeup better. And I'm like, you do you, Susie. Blend, girl, blend. Yeah. I was like, you're not going to blend? He's like, blend? I was like, yeah, blend. Well, it was the whole thing. Next up, we have what I call the Oedipals.
Oh, God.
They're a strange bunch. Meet Danny. Danny has a bit of a thing for his mother-in-law. His fantasy was that she would come around when his wife Sue was out. She would have just been shopping and wanting to try on her purchases. Danny would be quite happy to give his opinion on what she had bought if she wanted. And she did want. She very much wanted.
Oh, God.
Now, I did some research on this. I don't want you thinking that it's like it's all made up and he is just like the unique one. The mother-in-law fantasy is really, really common. Women, if you have a son-in-law, odds are he's thought about fucking you often. Apparently, there is something about someone like his wife, but with more experience that is really sexy. While I am absolutely certain that my son-in-law harbours zero sexual fantasies about me, my son's friends have often said that I am fuckable, much to his horror. So I get it. I have never fancied any of my in-laws, male or female, and I'm sure they are very pleased to hear it. But back to Danny.
Oh, do we have to?
We do.
Oh, God.
Because it gets so surreal with Danny. That his fantasy was that the mother-in-law had bought a PVC catsuit wasn't the strange thing. That she would choose to try it on in his house wasn't the strange thing either. That Sue came home early and caught us fucking and decided to join in wasn't the strangest thing. Danny assured me that she was Sue's stepmom, not biological mum, so it's not that weird, really. That's a direct quote. It's not that weird, really.
Oh, it so fucking is, Danny.
No, the strangest thing was that we really got into the role play.
Who were you playing? Who were you playing?
I was playing the mother-in-law.
Right, okay.
In my PVC catsuit, which had a zip underneath and stuff for easy access.
Okay.
Really got into it. When I said I was going to use his room because it had the big mirror in it, I don't know. I was making it up as I went along. He said he would put the kettle on. One sugar, isn't it? He asked.
Oh, no.
See, you get it. You get it. Now,
No.
I know intellectually I'd never spoken to Danny before in my life. He wasn't actually my son-in-law, and he had never, ever made me a cup of tea. But damn it, I was annoyed. He didn't know I take 2 sugars. And I really told him off about it in the middle of a role play about him fucking his mother-in-law while she wore a PVC catsuit. I told him off. How am I supposed to trust you not to tell Sue if you can't even remember how many sugars I take? I don't know what happened next.
He probably enjoyed being told off by the mother figure.
Oh, he did. He did. So he said, oh, no, and he got really apologetic. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'll make you a cup of tea.
Let me shag you.
I'll put an extra sugar in for you. And I went, it's not an extra sugar. It's the right amount of sugar. It's the sugars I have. I won't lie. At that point, I started to ponder the whole nature of my existence. Who was I? That a random man on the phone, who at this point was audibly wanking, would piss me off by not knowing I take 2 sugars. What does this say about me?
It says that you were doing your very best at a job you needed to have to pay the bills.
My work ethic. Oh my God, luckily.
Work ethic, love.
Luckily, I was snapped out of my reverie by Dan telling me that I looked sexy as hell and asking me if I needed a hand undoing the crotch zip, which brought me back to earth with a bump.
The crotch zip. What a romantic proposition.
I know. God, I mean, especially after you've had kids, I just worried that your flaps would get caught. You don't want caught. And if you're wearing knickers underneath, it would you'd show through the PVC, surely, and it would ruin the line.
VPL, love, VPL.
What's the point of having a zip there if you're going to wear knickers? And I was just like, oh, mate, you know when you get the fear and your bits clench up? Right, you know,
if you're going to go commando, it's got to be in stuff that's not going to get caught or full.
I was just like, I've had 3 kids, my flaps might get caught. Anywho, Dan was so impressed with me that he proposed. I told him that Sue might have objections to that, and besides, I couldn't even contemplate marrying someone who didn't know how many sugars I take in my tea.
Good answer.
Other notable Oedipals include the one who said his girlfriend was out and he was sniffing dirty knickers. Ah, dirty knickers. No, he says in a tone that suggests that I'm the idiotic. That's the one, idiotic one. My mum's.
Oh, no!
Yeah, well, of course. Silly me. If you could see Lexi's face now, dear listeners, it's like, She's gone full on guppy fish. Like,
no, listen, I can get on board with most stuff, but sniffing your own mother's knickers, no. No, mate, you need help. Go and get some.
That's pretty much what I told him. Some of them accuse me of being closed-minded when I won't go there with him. They say that they thought my type would be more open to it. I'm not sure what they mean by that or how I should take it. I'm assuming they mean phone whore when they say my type. I suppose that's what I am. People pay to have phone sex with me, and as they can't see me, I can be anything to them. But fuck it, I'm a human being, and I will not be taking part in incest, real or imagined, so you can kiss my ass, motherfuckers. Definite motherfuckers.
We are in 100% total agreement here.
Yeah. It worries me how many men want to actually fuck their mums. I wonder how loveless their lives are that they sexually yearn for the women who give them life. I'm sure that Freud had plenty to say about it, and though I hate the idea that he was right about anything, the insufferable prick, from what I understand, if he rang me today, he would be telling me about his mother, if you know what I mean. On to the next.
I can't get this whole mother thing.
No.
I mean, if you turn it around the other way, there's also those women who the daddy thing, which
there's the daddy thing, but there's also like women who love their sons so much it's almost incestuous.
Oh God, yes. Oh God, yes.
They're all over TikTok. It's like, it's madness.
I have a friend who's got a brother like that.
Yeah.
And you know this friend because we were talking about her just before this podcast, whose brother was always the favourite, has never had a job in his entire life, and he's now in his 50s because he has to stay with mummy. And that's just how he likes it.
It's fucking weird.
Weird.
The daddy thing to me is just weird as well. I only ever say it as a joke. Like,
I do not get it. I mean, you know my dad.
I do. I've met, look, no.
I've never,
like, literally, he wears blimey trousers. Like, Lexi's dad is so all right, blimey governor. I say he wears blimey trousers.
Well, yes. Now, I can get behind the whole DILF thing, right?
But not calling them daddy.
But not calling them daddy, or including my dad in the DILF in my head.
Oh, okay. So, Lexi.
No, I do not want to shag your father. However, your dad is an attractive man.
I mean, she says that now, dear listener, dear viewer. But at the time when she first saw him, she went, "Ooh, ooh. Oh, he's a good looker." Oh, she came over all unmentionable. So she can tone it down all she likes. I know. My dad looks like Denzel Washington, which is unfortunate for me.
Your dad is a very attractive older gentleman.
He really is, apparently. But then he's always been an attractive. All my friends always wanted to come round every summer when he came over. They would always be like, suddenly turning up at my house wanting to come out and play, or to come in and play. Well, the weather's a bit bad, isn't it? Like, it's 30 degrees out there. What you want about? Like, oh, is your dad here? Oh, for goodness sakes. Is it all right if I stay over? No, fucking go home. You don't live next door. Fuck off. Right? Like, literally, I just don't get it. So, on to the next kink. It's a less maternal one, you'll be glad to hear.
Oh, thank fuck for that. Go on.
It's the danger wank.
Ah, this one's coming back to me. Go on.
Say hello to Terry. Terry is a painter and decorator from Essex. Terry has a routine on the last day of being in a client's house. Once everything is done, all the tools put in the van, and then the hoover run round. It is then that Terry likes to slip off his coveralls, get himself comfy, and use the client's phone to call a sex line. He knows he can get caught at any time, and that is the thrill for him. And he likes to let you know to cut it close. Now, in the sort of house inhabited by the people who can and do employ a painter and decorator, there is likely to be more than one landline phone. On the day that he called me, Terry had clearly not factored this in and was quite surprised to hear spluttering on the end of the line. I don't know if he thought it was me to start with, but he was shocked into finishing when he realised it was the owner of the house on the upstairs extension. Though I'd warrant not a surprise, as the house owner, was to hear me faking an orgasm while Terry fapped for England. I can only assume that the 20 minutes on the phone with me was deducted from his final invoice.
Oh, God, that poor homeowner.
It's like, it's the cheek of it as well. Not only to be wanking in someone else's house, but to use their phone.
And their phone bill.
Yeah. Can you imagine? It'd be like, oh, fucking hell, where'd this come from? And they'd be blaming the teenage son or Nan who's come in from the granny annex, and because you never know, and like, oh, I don't know.
Honestly, mate, wait till you get home.
I know this is all the thrill of it for him. It's the actual thrill of it.
Off on the danger wank, right? I'm with you.
Yes.
It's a bit like when you're sitting on the top deck of a bus and you're the only one there, and the thought crosses your mind.
Does it?
Oh, it did mine. Oh, when I used to work late and I used to get the bus home.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, dead late. It wasn't rush hour. Quite often I'd have the top of the bus to myself.
But I'm glad it weren't rush hour.
And you sit there and think, I'm up here all on my own. I could do anything. I wonder if that would do it for him.
It probably would, though. If I get to the top of the bus and there's nobody else there, I go sit right at the front and pretend to be driving it. I think we have very different experiences.
Oh no, I'd still drive the bus.
I mean, I used to, like, when I was working late, it was really late, so I was getting the bus home at 2-3 in the morning. So I quite often had the bus to myself, like downstairs or upstairs, but I wouldn't really go upstairs that late at night, because if anybody came upstairs, you could be absolutely certain they had nothing good in mind.
Oh God, no, the weirdos. Yeah.
I would always sit downstairs, like as close to the front as possible.
I mean, God, some of the weirdos on that bus, going off on a tangent, guys, sorry, but I mean, the one who thought he was the prince of the potato people. I am the prince of the potato people. And we'd all go, I'm reading my book really hard.
Maybe he was.
Maybe he was.
Did you consider that?
No, because I was too busy trying to make myself invisible. Please don't come and talk to me. Please. Anyway.
You ready for your next kink?
Come on.
There are a group of mainly older men who get off on posh-sounding women who swear. Luckily for them, I generally swear like a navvy with a stubbed toe, so they're very happy. It isn't that I don't have the vocabulary not to. I enjoy it. There's something rather visceral and sexy about saying fuck rather than fudge. Makes me feel real, and it makes me feel alive. There are men who feel the same way. There was one in particular who sticks in my mind, probably because he was on the line for an hour and 10 minutes, and it was some of the easiest money I have made in this job. Gerald has a wife called Emma who likes to prick tease him. Emma goes away on conferences quite often, and she winds him up about all the cock she's going to tease while she is gone. Gerald fucking loves it. Gerald took half an hour to explain to me exactly what Emma does. It wasn't that difficult. Basically, she says fuck a lot and chats up men in bars sans bras while Gerald watches. He then asked me what I would do to prick tease him. He asked me, a writer, to tell him how I would tease him. Oh, Gerald, you sweet summer child, prepare for your phone bill to go through the roof. One thing I am very good at is building up a story. 40 minutes later, he is panting and swearing at me, telling him I am the equal of his wife. Mate, I am 10 times better than your wife, and we both know it. Sorry, Emma, it is what it is. I saw a meme once that said, I love posh women who swear a lot, and it reminded me of Gerald and Emma. I don't know where the maker of said meme got the idea from, but I have a sneaking suspicion that she's been a PSO at some time. Are you learning lots yet?
Yes, it's the posh voice thing. I was just thinking, you see, in my mind, darling, I think that I sound like Joanna Lumley. Okay. Now, I know that is not the truth. I know that is not the truth. However, I was rather taken aback this week because, dear listeners, I also work on the phones, just not the kind of phones that Dee works on. When I was explaining and walking my customer through a particularly tricky bit of legislation, and she said, thank you very much for that. You're so helpful. Has anybody ever told you you sound like Adele?
No.
And I said, no, they haven't, but I'd like to have her money.
Hello from the insulted side.
Now, I love Adele, don't get me wrong. Love the bones of that woman. Really like her. I can plaster the best of anyone. But I didn't think I sounded like Adele. Actually, I am from London, but I was brought up in Sussex. Oh, I was just like, I'm going to have to start going, hello.
Would you like to hear the voice?
Sandra, how can I help you?
Would you like to hear the voice that Gerald heard?
Yeah, go on.
Darling, I've been in these knickers all day. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go into the bathroom and slip them off. Won't that be naughty?
Did that run the flag up Gerald's pole, did it?
It did. Definite dick flag on that.
Dick flag. Right. I'm going to remember all these tips.
Okay.
They continue to things that I really probably don't want to know about, but go on.
Chorophilia and urophilia sound a bit like Greek gods, don't they? The horror on your face, Lexi.
Why am I doing this? Why? Go on.
Bereaved, sitting on Mount Olympus, wondering why Daddy Zeus finds it impossible to keep his dick in his toga. They are, however, the technical names for scat play and golden showers. Yes, my friend, people who enjoy the waste humans produce from ingesting food and drink are out there, and they are willing to pay 35 pence a minute to talk about it. As Dr. Dre might have said, meet Stan. Unlike Susie, Stan has exquisite taste in underwear and likes to describe what he is wearing in glorious detail. If my kink was imagining lavish and lovingly described underwear I will never be able to afford, I would be in seventh heaven. Stan knows his shoes too. He was wearing kid leather 5-inch stiletto heels with a pointed toe and an ankle strap when I spoke to him. He didn't know it, but Stan was wearing my foot kryptonite. I have the Primark version of those shoes, and I'm not ashamed to admit that when I bought them, I moved my shoe rack to a position where they would be the last thing I saw on going to sleep and the first thing I saw when I woke up.
Shoes.
Yes. They are beautiful, glorious shoes, and I love them. As a side note, I love pretty shoes and have lots of them I've never worn. I don't even care. They're my babies and I cherish them. Not in a weird way, though. Honest. Again, another nod to this paranormal life. Not in a weird way. You have to listen to this podcast, Lex. You have to listen to it.
Okay.
I know, I've been telling you for years.
I have a lot of podcasts to get through. Thank God for working from home. No, I didn't say that. Right, go on.
I was very interested in what Stan was going to do next. Stan, it turns out, likes to be punished for pissing on his lovely stockings. He pissed everywhere, on the camisole, on the knickers, on the stockings, and yes, on the lovely, lovely shoes.
Not the shoes, not the shoes.
Punish him. I wanted to bloody kill him. I'm afraid to say I took my grief about the shoes out on poor Stan and made him do all sorts of things, including licking them clean, not just role play. I actually made him lick them while I listened. It lessened the hurt slightly, but I was still annoyed. My ultimate punishment for Stan was to make him hand wash his delicates, then wank with a washing up sponge, the rough side. And he did it. And he loved it. And I now am Sisyphus, and my boulder is having to listen to him destroy the shoes twice a week. I've never come across anyone so imaginative where it comes to punishment before, Stella, he says. When Stan calls, it's a hard life, especially for Stan. The request for pissing is very common, though I've had more than once merged a customer kink with my actual need to go for a pee. I started this job during a heat wave, and as we know, it is important to stay hydrated. The customer was very, very happy. I was very relieved, and it was an extra 5 minutes on the phone. I've had men ask me to piss in their mouths, on their cocks, in their hair, then massage it in like shampoo, all over them. And on one quite memorable and oddly specific call, over the kitchen floor so he could skate in it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I know. I was a bit worried about that one, as it hasn't been risk assessed. He could slip and bang his head, but I didn't mention a helmet, or Lord knows where the conversation would have ended up. Weirdly enough, though, when I wrote I Woke Up Early, there is a character death in that book, and he dies by slipping and banging his head in the kitchen.
Hopefully not in his own wee.
No, it's not in his own wee.
Good.
It's really not. There is also the guy who wanted to be my personal toilet paper. He wanted me to drink tea all day, not even making this up. Then he wanted me to never wipe because he would lick me clean every time I had a pee. Every single time. My first thought was, great, now I can't even have a pee in peace. Oh, you can tell I've had kids, can't you?
Oh, God, yes.
Kids and then cats. I can't even pee in peace.
Oh, Christ, you can never go to the loo on your own with a cat. No.
My second was, how much tea could I safely consume in a day? Thanks, ADHD brain. I'm scared to Google it just in case my weird brain dares me to do better. Then there are the shitters.
Oh, good God. Bloody Jesus, Mary and all the little angels. Dear Lord.
Now,
right, sorry, I had to get that out. Had to get that
out. Yeah, better out than in. That's what the shitters say as well. Now, I have heard my arse referred to as my arsehole, my bumhole, and my chocolate starfish on the phone. But really, honestly, what kind of man thinks I'm going to be turned on by the phrase, I want to lick your shitbox clean?
Oh, lovely.
I know. And he wouldn't stop saying it. He had his fingers in my shitbox, his tongue in my shitbox, and his cock in my shitbox. Every time, every single time he said it, I was thinking about 80s girl group Fuzzbox, the singer I had a massive crush on, and I spent most of our time together what their one-hit wonder was called, and it was most distracting. I looked it up after the call, by the way. It was Pink Sunshine, which most certainly does not come out of my shitbox, in case you were wondering. There was a guy who found constipation sexy. He just wanted me to pretend to try and force a shit out, grunting and groaning while he tossed himself off. I am sure my neighbours now think I have piles or something. I also had to log off afterwards and go and actually have a poo. It was all that straining, I suspect. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm the weird one, but I just don't find poo sexy. I know plenty of you do.
No. There is nothing sexy about shite. Sorry, there isn't.
I know plenty of you do, and I'm honestly not judging. It just isn't my thing. It meant missing out on shagging a glorious creature called Stacey once because she was really into it, but I wasn't going there. She was dressed as a bunny girl at the time, for fuck's sake. And oh my God, this woman was insanely hot. Regrets? I have a few. But hot as she was, because she wanted to take a shit on my tits, one of them is not turning down Stacey, especially after speaking to this next customer. Enter Scatman. No, not an alternative recording of a Metallica song, but a 25-year-old, 25-year-old.
Oh dear.
Who told me he likes to get a bit filthy. Yeah, right, thinks I. There's nothing a 25-year-old can teach me in the filthy stakes.
Well, I mean, you know, if a 25-year-old said that to me, I would be expecting some high-quality dirty talk.
There may even have been a noise made. Dick fart noise was made. If you could see me now, well, some of you can see me now, and you can see me shaking my head at my own hubris. I was new. I knew no better. So I said the ill-fated words, bring it on.
Oh, I'm nervous.
Yeah. You have no idea just how vanilla you are until you've had someone tell you about how he's thinking about you, sitting on the toilet, still wearing knickers, pissing and shitting in glorious technicolor detail. I felt very fucking vanilla when he asked me to slide the knickers off, put them on him and squish the shit all over his balls while he wanked. God love him. He had heard my challenge and risen to it, as it were. He said he would ring me again as he really liked me. And next time, he would get really dirty with me. He was just getting started.
God, it's like a dirty protest.
Good Lord, my brain shuddered and my mind can only comprehend one way it could get any filthier. And just in case I no longer eat for at least an hour before my shift, nor again will I ever underestimate 25-year-olds.
Oh, where does this come from?
I don't.
I said last time, you know, I find it hard to understand where it comes from. Although I know where my little tiny weeny kinks come from, but where does being turned on by shit come from?
Don't know. I think from the research I did, like all jokes aside, it's from especially for those who like to wear nappies, it's from the idea that you would be looked after and cleaned up and get attention when you poo.
So they're looking for some kind of comfort and care.
Yeah. So that, dear reader, dear listener, dear viewer, is where we are leaving it for this week. There is still a lot more to come, an awful lot to come. But I have promised Fiona that she gets to do the sunflower oil guy.
Oh yes, Fiona gets the sunflower oil guide. Yes, and I'm not saying any more than that, but it is worth it. Oh my word.
And we have been going for quite some time, so we are going to leave it there.
Yeah, let's leave it there, because I don't think I can do any more after the whole I'm going to rub shit over everything. It's just...
No.
I mean, you know, if you're consenting and you've got two people consenting and that's what they like, yeah, I can understand that. But But you see, maybe it's me, because I haven't had sex for a very long time, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always been the kind of, if I think I might be in for some sex, I want to be as clean as is humanly possible.
Mm.
Because I want to smell nice and I want to rub lots of lovely lotion so my skin's all soft. I want to be able to make myself feel sexy.
Mm-hmm.
Rubbing shit all over myself would not make me feel sexy in any way.
Yeah, me either. But there we go. Yeah, I'm really not into poo. Poo or vomit doesn't do anything for me.
No.
So yeah, so we're going to leave that there for this week. Thank you for listening. I have been Dee Dickens. You as ever have been marvellous. And this has been Duct Tape and Daddy Issues. Now, I keep forgetting to go through the spiel about Patreon and stuff. So news, what's coming up? Next week, as you know now, we are going to have the wonderful Fiona back and carry on our journey into kink. And honestly, I got the worst stuff out the way first. So if you manage to get through that, it's going to be plain sailing for you next week. Like, it really will. We talk about class and colonialism next week. So yeah, it gets a little bit deep. If you want to, I'm also going to record a bonus episode with Fiona because we are halfway through the book now. And being as we are halfway through, I thought it might be nice to have a where are we? What are your questions so far? So you can either tweet me on DuctPod, so that's at DUCTPOD, or you can message me on not Instagram. I haven't got the Instagram up yet. Where is it? Oh, yes. Sorry, I had a complete brain fart then. Thank you, ADHD brain. So yes, so either that or you can send an email to ducttapeanddaddyissues@gmail.com. And I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your best bits, your worst bits. I would love to hear what's going on in your lives. If any of you have decided to take this up, if any of you are thinking about taking it up and just want a little bit more advice as to whether you could do it, whether you have stories that will best these stories, because I am not conceited enough to think that my stories are the only stories out there, or they are even the funniest or the best stories out there. All I can do is trying to entertain the masses. So that's what I do to help keep the lights on. If you would like to subscribe to my Patreon, that would be really, really helpful. On there, I haven't really put too much in the tiers, but there will be bonus episodes and you will get to hear them way in advance. You'll get shout outs on the show. And I'm even thinking about maybe getting some merch, something that says Stella made me do it. So like, I'm thinking about doing that if there's enough of you doing want that. If you are watching on YouTube rather than listening on a podcast, then like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never have to miss an episode. If you're listening to this on Spotify or whatever place you get your podcasts from, then if you rate and put the stars, rate and review, that's the word. God, I'm so tired today. Rate and review, that gets our listening figures up, and that just means that things go further. Also, if you feel you can, because I know for some of you, this podcast is your dirty little secret, and I kind of like it, but I would also like it if lots of people listened. So if you feel you can, share it on your Facebook with you have to listen to this, and tag people in who you think you would like it, because that is the way that we're going to get this nice and big. We're halfway through the book. We still have another halfway to go, and I'm going to try and leave this up ad infinitum when it's finished, and who knows what will come next. So be good, and if you can't be good, be careful. If you can't be careful, make sure you have consent. And if you don't have consent, don't fucking do it. So thank you once again, Lexi, for coming back. You've been an absolute delight as ever. And
You're welcome.
and we will see you again next week.